Throwaway account. I'm a 36M. My wife is 34F. Married 8 years. No kids yet, not the right time, she always said. Our life looked fine from the outside. Good jobs, weekend trips, shared friends. The first thing that fell off wasn't dramatic. It was silence. She stopped telling me small things. Stopped complaining. Stopped asking how my day was. When someone goes quiet like that, you think they're tired or stressed. I thought that too. I didn't realize silence can be preparation. Looking back, she wasn't drifting away. She was already gone. The changes were subtle enough to gaslight myself. New gym schedule. New clothes. A sudden obsession with privacy. She'd angle her phone away, even on the couch. Once I joked, "You hiding secrets?" She smiled and said, "Don't be insecure." That word stuck. Insecure. Anytime I asked a question, she used it. I started apologizing for being curious about my own marriage. The weirdest part? She became nicer. Kinder. Almost guilty. When someone gets nicer out of nowhere, it's not love. It's compensation. I just didn't know what she was compensating for yet. I found out on a Tuesday. Nothing cinematic. I was folding laundry when her Apple Watch buzzed on the dresser. She was in the shower. The message preview lit up. "I miss waking up next to you." That sentence doesn't belong in a marriage. I stared at it for a long time, hoping context would magically appear. It didn't. I unlocked the watch. No password. Months of messages. Hotel jokes. Complaints about me. She called me safe but boring. That one hurt more than the flirting. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed to understand how long my life had been a lie. When I finally asked her who he was, she laughed. Actually laughed. She said I was reading things wrong. Then she said it was emotional, not physical. Then she said it was because I stopped being ambitious. Every explanation contradicted the last. When I mentioned hotel messages, her face changed. Flat. Cold. She said I violated her privacy and asked why I was trying to control her narrative. Narrative. That's when I realized this wasn't panic. This was strategy. She wasn't scared of losing me. She was scared of losing control of the story she'd already told herself, and probably others. The twist came fast. She admitted there was more than one man. Said it casually, like correcting a typo. She told me monogamy felt limiting, and asked if I'd ever considered an open marriage, retroactively. When I said no, she cried. Said I was abandoning her emotionally. That night, she slept peacefully. I didn't sleep at all. My chest felt tight, like grief and anger were fighting for space. I kept thinking about that word she used earlier, insecure. Turns out I wasn't insecure. I was being systematically lied to. And this was just the beginning. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. Made breakfast. Asked if I wanted eggs. When I didn't answer, she accused me of punishing her with silence. She said healthy couples don't shut down like this. Later that day, I got a message from her sister asking if everything was okay. Apparently, my wife told her I was emotionally unstable. That hit hard. She was already building a version of events where she was the victim. I realized every calm moment she had was time she'd already spent preparing for fallout. I wasn't reacting to the betrayal. I was reacting late. I started checking timelines. Dates. Stories that didn't line up. Turns out the girl's weekend she took last fall, he was there. The business trip she cried about missing me on, same hotel. When I brought this up, she said I was obsessing and needed help. She suggested therapy. For me, then came another twist. She admitted she'd told him we were basically separated, that I was controlling, that she stayed because she was afraid. Hearing myself described as a threat was surreal. I'd been sleeping next to someone who was quietly rewriting me into a villain in her story. I felt something strange and not rage, not sadness, detachment, like my emotions finally stepped back to protect me. I stopped arguing. That scared her. She started checking in constantly, asking what I was thinking. When I didn't engage, she accused me of giving up on the marriage. That's when I noticed a pattern. Chaos was her oxygen. Without it, she panicked. She offered to cut him off, to delete everything, to start fresh. But every offer came with conditions. No questions, no anger, no consequences. Forgiveness on her terms. I understood then. She didn't want a pair. She wanted erasure. The real breaking point came from an unexpected place. He messaged me, said he didn't know I was still in the picture. He apologized, sincerely, sent screenshots, voice notes, proof she'd lied to both of us. He said she promised him a future once she sorted things out. I listened to a voice note where she laughed about how clueless I was. That was it. Something inside me went quiet. Not numb, clear. I thanked him. Then I blocked them both. For the first time since this started, I felt like I was choosing myself instead of begging for honesty. I didn't announce my decision. I just started planning. Opened a new bank account. Talked to a lawyer. Packed essentials. When she noticed, she exploded. Accused me of betrayal, of abandonment, of ruining her life. The irony almost broke me. She said I was throwing away years over mistakes. But mistakes don't require this many lies. That night, I slept on a friend's couch. It wasn't comfortable, but it was peaceful. I stared at the ceiling and realized something terrifying and freeing at the same time. The marriage I was trying to save didn't actually exist anymore. The days after I left were quieter than I expected. Painful, yes, but quiet. She texted nonstop at first. Long messages about love, then anger, then guilt. She blamed stress, childhood trauma, fear of commitment, anything except herself. I stopped responding. That silence did more than any argument ever could. Friends slowly learned the truth. Some admitted they'd sent something off, but didn't know how to tell me. That hurt, but I understood. When someone is determined to believe a lie, the truth sounds inconvenient. I started sleeping again. Not well, but better, and that felt like progress. Therapy helped, but not in the way I expected. It wasn't about fixing heartbreak. It was about reclaiming reality. I learned how often I'd minimize my need to keep the peace. How I mistook consistency for intimacy. The hardest realization? I ignored my instincts because I wanted the story to end well. Letting go of that version of the future felt like a second loss, but it was cleaner. Honest, I wasn't missing her anymore. I was missing who I thought she was. And once you see that difference clearly, you can't unsee it. The divorce process was mechanical. Cold. Paperwork. Doesn't care about feelings. She tried to delay things, then suddenly wanted to be amicable. I kept everything factual. No defending. No explaining. That boundary changed everything. I started rebuilding small routines, morning walks, cooking real meals, seeing friends I neglected. Some days were heavy, others surprisingly light. I caught myself laughing at a joke without guilt. That moment scared me more than the sadness ever did. It meant I was moving forward. And part of me worried that moving forward meant admitting how long I'd stayed too long. Looking back, the affair wasn't the deepest wound. The manipulation was. Being told your reality is wrong enough times starts to hollow you out. I'm still unpacking that. But I've learned something important. Love doesn't require confusion. It doesn't make you doubt your memory, your worth, or your sanity. If someone needs to rewrite your character to justify their choices, they were never protecting the relationship. They were protecting themselves. I wish I'd known sooner that peace isn't something you negotiate for. It's something you choose, sometimes by walking away. If you're reading this and something in your relationship feels off, don't ignore it just because nothing's exploded yet. Pay attention to patterns. To how often you apologize for asking reasonable questions. To how silence feels in your own home. Leaving wasn't easy. Staying would have been harder. I didn't lose my marriage. I lost an illusion that was costing me myself. I'm not bitter. I'm clearer. And that clarity feels like freedom. If you're standing where I stood, wondering if you're overreacting, you probably aren't. Trust yourself. That might be the most important relationship you ever save. If this story hit close to home, you're not alone. I know how isolating this kind of situation can feel. If you're comfortable, share your thoughts or experience in the comments. Sometimes just writing it out helps more than you expect. And if you want to hear more real stories like this, feel free to subscribe.